Good afternoon, everyone. This will be my video lecture in Chameleon Values and Norms. Today is October 13, 2021. It's a Wednesday, and this video lecture is intended for Block A and Block B. Now, as is customary, we'll go first with this book, the contents of this book. We are now in the last part of Unit 2, and then after that we proceed with English grammar. So there will be two parts as usual. Part 1 will be on CVN, then part 2 will be on English grammar. Okay? So before I proceed, after my discussion in CVN Unit 2, you need to accomplish, or you need to do, activity sheet number 2. Okay? I repeat, you now have to do activity sheet number 2, which is found on page 29. No? So I will now mention the words that you have to spell. It's not only spell, but you also have to give the meaning or meanings of the word given. Okay, because that is the directions given in Roman numeral number 1. So I have to give you the 5 words now that you have to spell and then give the meaning. Okay, number 1. Okay, are you ready? Number 1 will be muras. I repeat, muras. Number 2, illustrious. Number 2, illustrious. Number 3, ambivalent. Number 3, ambivalent. Number 4 would be emasculate. Number 4, emasculate. And number 5 would be chastise. I repeat, number 5 would be chastise. Okay? So those are the words that you need to spell and give the meaning thereof. Okay, so I will proceed now with the last part of Unit 2, of which we will be discussing about institutionalization of values and norms. Okay, institutionalization. So what comes to your mind when you say institutionalization? Okay, coming from the word institution, of course, institutional or institution. Well, when we talk of institutionalization of values and norms, we are talking about the process. No? It's a process. In sociology, when we talk of institutionalization of values and norms, we talk about the process of what? Process of embedding. No? What do you mean by embed? To embed is to become a part, an integral part of something, part of something. You put that, no? It becomes a part, of something. No, you embed. No, in short, when you embed on something, it is now forming part of something. Well, here, when we talk of embedding the values and norms, of course, when you embed that, it will be in an process of embedding the values and norms to a group, organization, or society. No? Or society. Diba? You embed. It becomes now a part of that group, of that organization, or of that society. The process of embedding. No? The word embed. You have to embed that in the organization, in the group, or in society. Now, when do we say, or what do you think are the reasons why we institutionalize certain things like values and norms? Well, it being institutionalized in a group, in an organization, or in a society, the aim, of course, is what? To ensure, well, of course, the institutionalization will be to regulate actions, no? To regulate one's actions, no? You regulate, meaning you cannot do whatever you please or what you want, because there are norms, there are rules, there are expectations that should be followed for a given situation or for a given circumstance, no? So you regulate one's actions. When I say actions, I'm referring to the patterns of behavior, no? Patterns of behavior, no? So you regulate the actions for purposes of what? What's the purpose? Of consistency, for purposes of consistency plus uniformity. Okay? And once this is embedded, no, the consistency and uniformity of our actions, it becomes now what? When a certain action is done, of course, it becomes predicted, it becomes regular, it becomes normal, no? So because it has been embedded, no, the term embedded, it has been embedded in the organization, in a community, in a society, or in a group, of course, those norms, those values will now be followed or observed by the people composing that group or organization, so their actions become now predicted, regular, normal. And anything that you do that does not conform to the predicted action, regular action, or normal action will now be called a deviant, or something that is deviant. Okay? Clear so far? Now, how do we know that the values and norms have been institutionalized? Well, how do we know that the values, the set of values and norms, have been institutionalized? Well, the first is that people in that group, organization, or society, or community have accepted, no? Have accepted those values and norms as forming part of their system. Already accepted as forming part of the social system. No? Accepted. Remember the word accepted as part of the social system. No? It's been accepted. So when it is accepted, a large number, I'm not saying all, no, a large number or great number of people who compose that group, society, or organization are actually following. No? They are observing strictly those norms or values or whatever roles that they have to do or to undertake. Okay? Or beliefs, whatever beliefs do they believe in. Now, aside from, we are still in, how do we say or how do we know that the values and norms are institutionalized? The first is acceptance. It is accepted by a large number of group or by a large number of people composing that group, organization, or society. Second is, those values have been internalized. No, because they follow those values and system. Remember, accepted as forming part. It's been as internalized as forming part of their individual systems, forming part of their personal or individual system. Personal or individual system. Take note, no? The first one is social system. The second is it has to be internalized by the people or persons composing that group, organization, or society. Clear? So far? So what else? What are still the other reasons why or how do we determine that this set of values have been institutionalized? Well, the third is there is actually a system, no? There is actually a system of what? What kind of system? System of imposing sanctions. What are sanctions? Well, these are penalties. Sanctions or penalties in case of violation. In case of violation. Clear? So there is actually a system, an organized system of imposing certain sanctions or penalties in case you violate those patterns of behavior, because it's been institutionalized. So it institutionalized patterns of behavior. And of course, the fourth is because of observance, no? Observance by a great number of people in that group, society or organization, it has now become standardized. No? Their actions are standardized, consistent with what? Consistent with the norm or the norms. No? Consistent with the norm or values. No? It has become standardized. Next standard is standardized. No? Is standardized. Okay? It has become standardized because of the frequent observance or regular observance of such norms by the lapse of time. No, it has become standardized because it has been followed all throughout the organization, society, or group by the lapse of time. So there is already here consistency of actions. No? Consistency, because everything is standardized. So those are the indications when we can say that the set of values and norms have been institutionalized. Okay? So we move now to the benefits. No? The benefits. So what are the benefits of institutionalizing values and norms? No? Could you give me one? So what are the benefits? No? Well, of course, one of the benefits would be what we call one heart, one spirit. No? One heart, one spirit, which means unity. No? One heart, one spirit, united in the achievement of goals, mission, vision, objectives, etc. No, they become united because everything is institutionalized. No, so the group of people comprising the society, organization, or agency will now be united. No, they become united in the achievement of those goals set for the group. No, set for the institution, set for the society or community in general. Okay? Aside from that, of course, one heart, one spirit, of course, the level of commitment for success is very high, because you see, level of commitment, when I say level of commitment in the achievement of vision, mission, goals, objectives, very high, because they are united. You see, one heart, one spirit. Because they are united, so because very united, very high. The level of commitment of people composing that organization is very high in terms of commitment to achieve the mission, vision, goals, objectives, and the core values that that organization imposes. No? Very high, no? Because one heart, one spirit nga. And of course, actions are regulated. Here, actions are regulated. And if actions are regulated, which means standardized, if actions are regulated, this brings about what? This brings about stability, this brings about cohesion, this brings about solidarity. Clear? You understand so far? Okay, actions are regulated, standardized, so we move to the fourth one. Because of the lapse of time that these patterns of behavior have been institutionalized, so retention of values, norms, retention of values and norms will be what? Retention will be considered as important. They retain the values and norms because they believe that those norms and values are important in their, will be considered important in their daily life. Okay? So there are a lot more reasons, no, or benefits that one can derive in institutionalizing, no? Of course, we also add here, we institutionalize for us to be able to have standardized, no, patterns of behavior. Standardized patterns of behavior. What is the purpose of standardization? Well, of course, to bring about what we call social order. Social order. Okay? Understood? Okay, that is all for today. So I'd like you to read the last part, which is why norms are important. Importance of norms. So I just want you to read because it's just a repetition of what I discussed. But I'd like you to do activity sheet number 2. Okay? Thank you. This is part 1. We will proceed with part 2 in a short while.